Hello folks, and today we're going to unbox 5 pounds of Xtreme Aquatic food. So they reached out to me in email, as people often do, and said, hey, would you like to sample some of our products? And I said yes, but please include the Monster Bites because Mr. Tubes loves those. In fact, I feed him some of those just about every day. So, along with a variety of other things. In fact, I do, in the big tank, I sort of pre-prepare their food. And I'll show you that today, too, at the end of this video. And I thought it might be fun to go around and feed some of this food to my fishes and give you some shots of that. So we're going to unbox this pretty quickly, take a look at inside, and then start feeding. Start feeding the fish! All right. Here's the... Oh boy, I'm set now. This is about double the size of the one that I usually buy. So, wow, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mr. Tubes thanks you for his year of food. All right. Oh, we have some other stuff here. What do we got? Xtreme Wrigglers. Vibrant color enhancing 1mm krill stick. Krill stick. I'm just singing today, feeling very vocal. And we have Sowfly Crumble, Black Soldier Fly Larvae, 1mm slow sinking crumble. Oh, that's neat. That's neat. Let's get a closer look. You got 18 ounces here. Boy, that's a good amount. So let's take a look at, well, let's see what they say. It took a multi-award winning breeder, a successful tropical fish farm, and over 35 years of continuing improvements to develop the Xtreme Aquatic foods. Highest quality marine and vegetable proteins produce a balanced, natural color while promoting healthy growth, healthy immune systems, and all right, let's have a closer look at the different foods. This is my own, this is one I've been into for a while. I buy this size, which is maybe a third of the size of the one I just received. These come in thick, dense pellets that will sink. They degrade over a period of time and they kind of get a little bit puffier than that. This is what I've been feeding Mr. Tubes. Well, I know that he eats these. He might eat other things as well, and I throw a number of different things in there that I'll show you later. But I've seen him hunt these things down quite a few times, and I do throw them in there because they're kind of too big for anything else to eat but him. He's about the only thing that can take one of those all in one bite. So I have 4 or 5 of those in my daily dose of food. The ingredients in this are krill meal, shrimp meal, fish meal, squid meal, rice bran, soy protein concentrate, wheat, middlings, and so on. And this recipe is kind of what they use for a lot of their different foods. Bug Bites does something similar, but I want to show you a comparison more when we get to the next one. So let's get to that. Up next, we have the Sowfly Crumble, and that is a very, very fine food. This is a smallmouth fish, and it's really, really comparable, like in the texture and the way it looks and stuff, to like superficially comparable to the tropical formula Bug Bites. The ingredients are kind of similar too. There are a few differences, however. So this uses the black soldier fly larvae, which is why I brought out Bug Bites. I mean, that's kind of what that's their big thing, right? And then it's got fish meal, shrimp meal, fish protein concentrate, wheat starch, soy protein concentrate, and then it gets into the wheat flour, grain, and blah, blah, blah. So, this does something similar, except it's got salmon, green peas, and potatoes instead of the crayfish. And they got a named fish meal and maybe a couple of other vegetables and stuff. Another thing I found interesting too is they also kind of continued that recipe on even into other formulas where it just seems like the size of it is really the big distinctive factor. This important information too on the side. This is made in the USA, and the other one's in Canada. So that's something else. I've been able to feed this to just about all my tanks. I could see something like this being sort of at least a once or twice a week kind of staple. More and more I'm doing live food, so I love that it includes black soldier fly larvae as the primary ingredient. I'd definitely be interested in maybe just a slightly bigger size would be more universal to my tanks. With the other stuff, with the fluval stuff, I would kind of grind it between my fingers, and you can kind of get different sizes. You can take the bigger ones and crumble them into something like that. But this is a great size for young fish because it's just like a real fine grain. Up next are the regulars, and these are peculiar looking little sticks that sort of slow sink in there. They're crunchy. They can be broken down a little bit if you wanted to, but they're pretty small. So I think they're kind of, there should be anything that can crunch on, that likes crunchy stuff. I'm not sure how long it takes this to break down in the water and get softer. This is a really similar ingredients list than the others, except that they include krill in there to do that, and they got wheat flour like right off the bat. So it's probably a little less healthy than the other crumble was. Again, I'm not a dietitian, so don't take my word for it. But I try to keep. I like it when wheat is not in the first couple of ingredients, but sometimes these things are necessary to produce a certain effect with these things, and I don't think it's going to hurt your fish to eat it at all. For me, it just maybe decides like how often it's included, or how much of it is included along with the other food that I feed. Especially when I feed most of the food I feed like this, I don't do to all the tanks. I use it as to mix up the variety of foods that I feed to my biggest tank. And my big tank is really not picky. They will eat this. They love to eat this. I've been feeding them this stuff and the crumbles and the other stuff. The crumbles seem to be more universally accepted than the other stuff. My bettas didn't seem to care for this stuff at all or see it as food. I did try to feed it to them a few times. It's just not, I don't know, they just weren't that into it. And just about all the fish love this one. They tend to break this one down. Like, as this one breaks down, they'll sit there and pick at it. And Mr. Tubes is always able to come in there and snag one or two of these things before they're finished. And, I give at least 4 of these a day. So for the big tank, I'd like to feed a variety of foods, but it's kind of a pain to pull those out each week. And especially with the prepared foods, these dried foods and stuff. So I've got this oversized pill box with the days of the week on it. And what I do is I'll just go through and I'll just sort of do a little meal prep. I usually leave the lid of my my Xtreme Monster Bites here. And I make that today's meal. I don't usually do this right before I go to feed them, not when I run out. And that's round 1. I'm going to throw in some of these too. These will help with some of the smaller fishes. Just about everybody will eat these, but this might give those little guys a chance if everybody goes for the bigger stuff. Just for fun, we're going to put in some wrigglers too. I know my guys will eat these wrigglers. Especially those giant danios, they love this stuff. I've been feeding another food that these are really similar to, like, again, superficially similar to. These Cichlid Gold This has slightly similar ingredients in that it's a fish meal and ripe flour, which is kind of the same thing as this, except this goes on to include some krill meal and shrimp meal and other stuff. And this one just gets into corn and brewer's yeast and so on. So this is a much less healthier option. So hopefully this will be a nicer option for that. I'm also going to include these cichlid bug bites. My angelfish is who I primarily put them in for. He can usually catch these on the way down, and they're just a little bit big for some of the other fish to take off with, so he has a chance at grabbing one or two of these and crunch them in his mouth. Again, I'm not sure what makes this a cichlid bug bite, because the ingredients I'm willing to read down to don't seem to be that much different from the tropical version. Whoa. A few extra for today. And that's about it. I'll seal all this up. Go ahead and feed them this so I can put my lid back on. and let them eat. That's it. A nice little convenient thing every day. You just come up, pop open the thing, pour it out, close it back, and then set this someplace dry and safe. And you got a nice easy way to feed your fish a variety of foods. It's also handy if you're going out of town and you got that one tank where you're afraid that your biggest fish will eat all your small fish before you return. If you happen to have a tank like this, you can always invite whoever's coming over just to pop one of these open, just one maybe, and pour it in there, and give your tank some targeted feeding. These are super cheap, so you could do this for every aquarium and use prepared foods to kind of do that vacation feeding if someone's watching your place and you're paranoid, as you should be, about them feeding your fish. Usually I tell them not to worry about it, but I do set up something like this for my big tank anyway, so it's really handy just to let them open one of these and let them feed the big tank so that Mr. Tubes gets some food and doesn't start looking at all my little fish and getting hungry. Active breeding. Okay. Active breeding is probably good. And folks, I think I'm going to play you guys out with a little musical fish feeding. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I sure appreciate it. And thank you very much, Xtreme Aquatic Foods, for sending some stuff out. I'll let you know how these do. I'll be curious to know how they compare to like bug bites and some of those other ones that I feed quite a lot. So until next time, follow your bliss, keep a clean tank, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.